It's very possible that there will be a recession in the United States in the next couple of years. And to be honest, if you're worried about that, if you're concerned, if you're scared, if you're thinking about, how you're going to survive this next recession, you're kind of a loser, especially if you're a man. Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. What is a recession? It is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. That is it. An economy that contracts for 2 consecutive quarters, even if it's temporary, is by definition a recession. And if you look at the history of the world and the history of capitalism, there's always been recessions. It always happens. But in the United States, we've been spoiled. We have a very intrusive government and Federal Reserves that intervenes at the slightest hint of a recession because we can't let our stocks go down. And every time we've been bailed out basically by government deficits and government debt. So we haven't really had any brutal recessions. But if you go back further in the history of the United States, there were tons of recessions. It happened all the time. And people always survived them, okay? Now, it can be brutal for some people. A recession can be brutal because if you're living a high luxury, high spending lifestyle and all your income is concentrated in one place because you're complacent and you're lazy, well, guess what? A recession would actually hurt you pretty significantly because if all your income comes from one job and you have no other sources of income and you lose that job, you get laid off, furloughed, whatever, it's catastrophic because you don't have savings, you have nothing saved, and your one source of income has been destroyed. And while, I do sympathize with people that lose their jobs, part of me also says, well, at the end of the day, you had the opportunity to develop other skills and to develop other sources of income. And you also had an opportunity to save money, okay? So while I do feel some sympathy for people that lose their jobs during a recession, it should not be as catastrophic as people make it out to be. It's a natural cycle. It's a natural course that we experience recessions. And it's a natural thing that you may lose your job. And even I might lose my job. I don't freaking know, okay? It's entirely possible. But I have been hustling and striving and struggling for the past 5 years, working my absolute butt off, saving diligently, building other sources of income. And then I look around at other people and I see that, they just have their one job and they just clock in at 9 and they clock out at 5 and they always spend their money on absolute nonsense. They don't save. They're blowing their money and blowing their money. And then I think, okay, if we have a recession and I get fired, okay, I have savings and I have a lot of savings and I can always find a new job eventually. I can survive. I have other sources of income. And I did that through my own hard work. Nobody did it for me. I've earned every single freaking cent that I have been paid over the last 5 years doing all my side hustles. And I've been frugal. I haven't blown money. I mean, I've been on like a vacation here and there, spent $1,000. But overall, every time I get money, I just invest it. I save it in cash or I save it in VT. And then I look at a lot of clowns and they're just don't care. They're just going balls to the wall, spending, not developing, screwing off, not improving themselves. And if that person were to lose their jobs, I don't know why I should feel sympathy for them, okay? Because I put in the hard work up front to ensure myself against a recession. So if you're worried about a recession, okay, it's probably because you're not saving enough because you chose to spend in the near term. You chose to spend all your money on frivolous nonsense instead of squirreling some away. You were being irresponsible. You loaded yourself with tons of debt. You were a moron. If you were smart with your money and you saved a bit of it every month, what is there to worry about? Okay, you get laid off, you get unemployment, you have your savings you can dip into, okay? If you have other side hustles, you have other income coming in. So you can last a while until you can find a new job. I respect that kind of person. It doesn't matter how much they make or what they do. I respect somebody like that saves and, tries to improve themselves a lot more than I respect somebody that, does nothing after work except screw off, okay? Now, you got to enjoy life a little bit, I get it, but life isn't all about fun, okay? Life's all about, or a big part of life is your work and the value that you provide to society. And you do that by providing good skills, services to other people. And if you refuse to do that in your free time and you just focus on screwing off and I'm just chilling, bro, it's your own fault if you struggle in a recession, okay? It's entirely your freaking fault, and I don't feel bad for you. So to be honest, you're kind of a loser because you've accepted a life of mediocrity. 9 to 5, clock in, clock out. You don't want to make yourself better. You live in the near term. You're not trying to free yourself. You're just going day to day, working your pissant little freaking job. And when recession strikes, you suffer for it. And I won't feel bad for you. I'm just saying, okay? So if you're the kind of person that just has a 9 to 5 and you don't save, whatever. I want to hear you cry in the next recession. I want to hear you complain, blame Trump, blame Congress, blame the world. But in reality, it's not the world's fault. It's not Trump's fault. It's not anybody's fault but your own. You put yourself in a situation where you were not ready for the possibility of a recession. You have to evaluate all the risks in life, okay? You have to sit down and consider the alternative instead of your bullish thesis or your belief that nothing will ever change, because that is the downfall of a lot of people in life and especially in investing. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think I'm a jerk for not feeling bad for people who like whine and freak out and cry when they get laid off and they don't have any other sources of income and they didn't save any freaking money? Am I the bad guy for looking down on those people? Because I honestly do. I look down on you. I'm sure there's scenarios where it's very hard to save money, if you have multiple young kids. I get it. But on average, the most Americans are not financially responsible. They're morons. Every time they get money, they just freaking blow it. They have one job. Oh, go to my job. And then they just blow all their freaking money like absolute losers and morons. And I can't feel bad for those people because that's the average American moron. That's what they do. Okay, that's why we have a low savings rate, because we're morons. Most of us, okay, except for me, of course. So let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, check out the pinned comment, book a free 30-minute tax consultation with me. I am a certified public accountant. I will do your business and or personal taxes any state in the United States. You can talk to me for free. I give you upfront quotes, and I'll prepare your taxes like a boss. Cheers.